Hello everyone, I'm Shane. I'm the Managing Director of Intelliworx and welcome to today's webinar on Copilot in Action. It's great to have you join us as we explore the incredible capabilities of Microsoft Copilot and how it can transform your business operations. I'd also like to introduce our speakers today, Lauren Nobbs from Microsoft, who will be demonstrating Copilot, and Ksenia Turner from Crayon, who will be talking about Copilot agents and the capabilities. Our agenda for today is an introduction to Intelliworx, an introduction to Secure AI and Microsoft Copilot, in-depth demonstrations of different prompts, Copilot agents and what they're about, and right at the end, we are going to finish up with a Q&A session. Before we dive into this exciting world of Copilot, I'd like to introduce Intelliworx. Intelliworx is a leading managed IT service provider based in Australia, and we have offices in Chicago and London. We specialize in cloud solutions, system integrations, and expert IT support. We have a strong focus on delivering tailored solutions where we help businesses streamline their operations and achieve their digital transformation goals. And just before I hand over to Lauren, we're just going to conduct a quick poll on how often people are using AI, whether that's daily, weekly, occasionally, or maybe not even at all. So if you would just take a second to fill out that form, that would be great for us. Radio, over to you, Lauren.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Okay, to kick off my session, we're also going to do another quick poll because I want to understand how, what different types of AI people are using. So you should see a little poll come up shortly. So are you using Microsoft Copilot or are you using other AI tools? So I'll give a couple of seconds to fill that out. Right, and I'm going to get started giving a bit of an introduction on what Microsoft 365 Copilot is, and I'm going to talk through the security of Copilot and also how to best prompt Copilot, and then we're going to jump in the demo and I'll give you some live examples of how you can use Copilot in the day-to-day flow of your work. So firstly, Copilot for Microsoft 365 is an AI-powered productivity assistant, and it's designed to work alongside people to help them save time and work more productively. And we can think about Copilot, when we talk about copilots and also agents throughout this presentation, I want you to understand that copilots are designed to be for humans and agents are designed to be for processes. So we'll go into more of that later. But our mission as Microsoft is to enable and empower all employees and all of our customers to have copilots that help them with productivity and with changing the way that they're working. So Copilot is the UI for AI, and it connects you into all your different other, it's a UI that is in all your different Microsoft 365 apps and connects into all your different agents. And Copilot for Microsoft 365 is unique as it contains an integration into all of the different Microsoft 365 apps that you use on a day-to-day basis. So when we're talking about other AI solutions on the market, so what the key differentiator is for Microsoft 365 Copilot is it has access to all of your data in your Microsoft environment. So you can ask Copilot questions about your emails, your Teams messages, your documents, your calendar, your information about your clients, any information that lives in your Microsoft environment, or even in external systems that you may connect into Copilot. And you have one place to talk to Copilot and to get information from all of these different sources. And then we also have Copilot in the Microsoft 365 apps. So there's a Copilot that sits within Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, OneNote, all of those different apps that you use every single day, Teams. And the Copilot that sits in those apps is designed specifically to help you with the tasks you do in those apps. So for example, Copilot in Outlook is designed to help you with summarizing emails and drafting emails. Copilot in Teams summarizes your meetings, provides your action items, things like that. So it enables you to use generative AI in the flow of your day-to-day work in the productivity suite. And we also have Copilot Chat. And so this is When I talk about the full Microsoft 365 Copilot option, it's unique because it has your work grounded chat and it also has those integration into the Microsoft 365 apps. But I want to also highlight that this Copilot chat component, this is available to all of our Microsoft customers, regardless of whether they have a license or not. And this provides you with a free, secure AI chat. And it's really important because we're in a situation now where where employees are using different types of AI tools, and customers or organizations no longer have control over where their data is going and what other applications it can be using. So I really encourage you to make sure and to enable the employees in your organization to use this free Copilot that's included in your current licensing. This is web-grounded chat, so the key difference here between kind of the full version of M365 Copilot and Copilot Chat is it will just have access to web-grounded information and agents as well. But the key difference is that the full M365 Copilot has that work-grounded data. I just saw a question pop up around security. So when it comes to both Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Chat, security is the foundation. So Copilot, in whatever form, does not train on your company data. You also have all of the enterprise security and privacy controls that you can apply to Copilot to manage how it's used in your organization. So firstly, from a data security perspective, so the security commitments and contractual commitments that Microsoft have that apply to Copilot is the same as what you have on your email, your SharePoint, your OneDrive. So the security is in line with those services. It never trains on your company data. So the foundational large language models of Copilot is not training off your business data. And this means that no other company or no other customer is able to access your information that you are giving Copilot. It all stays within your tenant. It's not training on that. And then you have those other tools like within Microsoft environment that allow you to do things like retain your Microsoft Copilot interactions, to monitor them, to control kind of where or who's using what. So you have complete control in terms of how it's used in your organization as well. It's really key now that we have such a big, or just generally how, so many people just from a consumer perspective are using these tools in their own personal lives, they're bringing them into workplace, and that does pose risk to organizations. So ensuring that your customers are using a tool that has the security is really key to protect your data. Okay, was there any other questions in chat? I'll just quickly check. All right, so when it comes to Copilot and prompting, so when we talk about prompts, so there's also a question about how do we access free Copilot chat. I will show you that in the demo when I bring up my live environment. I'll show you how to access it. So when we talk about prompt, this is how you're having the conversation with Copilot. And you can think of Copilot as being like an assistant. So, or sometimes people describe Copilot as like an intern. So when you're giving instructions, you do need to be clear about what your expectations are and what you're expecting the output to be. But the prompt is your message, your request, or your query to Copilot. And the key of having an effective prompt is making sure that it's specific and it's detailed, and you're giving Copilot information about what your expectations are. So you will notice when you are including all the right components in a prompt, you'll get a better response from Copilot, and it will be more accurate. So there's 4 things that we recommend including in a prompt, and that's your goal, context, source, and expectations. So when I talk about the goal, that is what you want Copilot to do. So it might be write a business case, or summarize this article, or create a first draft of this document. Then the context is what it's for and why you're doing it. So you might say, write a business case for me to present to the leadership team to have this travel approved, or create a presentation that I can share with our marketing department about this, or giving context about who it's for and why you're doing it. The source is what information you want Copilot to look at or to use when it's creating that content for you. So this might be referencing documents that you want Copilot to use. It might be specific websites. It might be saying, can you look at my email and Teams messages over the past 2 months, or all the communications I've had with this client. So telling Copilot the source of information. And then your expectations are the things that can help Copilot meet your expectations. So this is like the tone you want it to generate the language in, the length of the content, something like that, who the audience is. So having those 4 components of your prompt is going to really help with getting a really effective response from Copilot that is kind of more of what you're after. When it comes to prompting, the best thing though is just get to get started and to try it, as you use Copilot more and more, you'll start to naturally build up skills in sort of how to adjust your prompts or how to add things to make changes to it. Is there a limit to I'm just going to check the question again here. So there's a question, is there a limit to how many prompts? No, there isn't. So it's unlimited. You can ask as many prompts as you want. I think in the kind of more free version of Copilot, there's an image generation limit, but that's it as well. Okay, I'm going to jump into the demo. Feel free to keep the questions flowing. Just do that now. Okay, cool. So I'm in the, everyone should be able to see that now. If someone's giving me a thumbs up to confirm, that would be awesome. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is jump into one of my favorite features of Copilot, which is the meeting chat, meeting recaps. So here I've got a Teams meeting, and with Copilot, you get an AI generated, and ignore the little freeze frames of this meeting here, but AI generated meeting summary. So this is going to take the transcription from your Teams meetings and automatically write the meeting notes for you. So we'll see on the side here are my meeting notes. When I click on each of these meeting notes, it expands it into more detail about what was discussed. And then we also have the follow-up tasks. So this is going to be any action items that were discussed during the meeting. Those get captured and recorded in the recap. We also see a breakdown of who talked during the meeting. You get the topics and the chapters, so the different things that were talked about, and then the chapters gives you timeline markers for those different topics. When you click on these different components, it will take you to that part of the recording. And you also have when your name was mentioned. So one of the helpful things about the Copilot recap of Teams meetings is that you don't have to actually attend the meeting to get the recap. So if you're invited and you can't make it, you can still access this meeting afterwards. So you can come in here and, for example, I could click on this and, it will take me to that part of the recording where my name was mentioned. So I can then watch that section that was relevant for me if I wanted to. And then what we also have is the Copilot chat, and this helps you pull specific information out of the meeting. So, for example, if I want to remember or get specific information about something we talked about, in this particular meeting, it was, or this meeting for this demo, it was myself and then a client meeting to discuss a IT transformation project. So, and one of my action items here was to set up a fortnightly cadence. So I'm going to ask Copilot who needs to be included in the cadence. And Copilot's going to analyze that meeting transcript and then find that exact detail for me. So when you need to go back to previous meetings that you've been a part of, you can use Copilot Chat to extract information that is specific to what you're looking for. So you're no longer having to watch hour-long recordings or have to go back for more of that information. So it's pulled that information for me there. I'm also going to ask things like, get Copilot to tell me what the key concerns were that were raised in this meeting and help me understand which ones were the priority based on the conversation that we had. So Copilot's going to do that now, but it doesn't just have to give you this format and like a bullet point list. With everything that you get Copilot to pull for you or generate for you, you can tell Copilot how you want that content to be created as well, or how you want it to be presented to you. So I'm actually going to now ask Copilot once to take these concerns that were raised in the meeting, and I want Copilot to generate a table that had the concern raised from the client and then the response from Amber, who I was playing in this meeting here. So you can get it in the format that you want to. All right, so this is super helpful for, again, pulling specific information from your meetings, and you can also have this chat during the meeting as well. So for example, if you turn up late to your meeting, you can get Copilot to, recap what you've missed so far. If you have to take a quick phone call or, go get a delivery from the door if you're working from home, Copilot's able to recap things as well. You can also get this on Stream as well. So Stream is where, when you have a meeting recorded in Teams, it gets kind of it gets stored in Stream, and you have the same chat there. So you can go into previous recordings that get shared to you where you weren't from a meeting, so at the meeting, and then you can get Copilot to you can ask questions or do a summary as well. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is jump into Copilot Chat. So this is your Copilot Chat here. And this, when I talked about earlier, there's that free Copilot Chat that every Microsoft customer has. And then there's the paid version as well, which has all of the integrations into the Microsoft 365 apps like Teams that I just showed you and your work data. So because I have the full license here, I have the work and the web tab. So the work tab has access to all of my information that's stored in my Microsoft tenant, and the web tab here just looks at web information. If you're using just that free Copilot chat experience, then you don't have these two tabs at the top. You'll just have the web experience. So it's only looking at web content. So when I'm in the work tab, this is really helpful for finding information. We know that organizations spend a lot of time, I think the statistic was like 40% of time finding information and having to look at those different sources. Was it an email? Was it a Teams message I had? Did we talk about this in a meeting? And trying to actually find the information they need to find to do their jobs. So Copilot, because it is able to look across all of those different places where your data lives, it makes finding information so much more efficient. And there's also semantic index. And what semantic index does is it, in the background, creates a very sophisticated map of your data and the people you work with, and understands the relationships and concepts between you and the data and the things that you do at work. And this helps personalize the results to you. So for example, if I ask Copilot, what's the latest sales report it's available, it's like, or maybe I ask for what's a March sales report. Copilot isn't just going to find any random, sales report that's created for March by any other team. It's got, if my manager or someone else on my team created a sales report for March recently, it's going to understand that that's more relevant for me, even if the keywords in the file name are the same, because it knows that I work with those people more, and that's kind of the style of working there. Okay, so we can, when we're talking to Copilot as well in this chat, we can reference pieces of information. So we can reference things like documents, people. So when you click a / or add content, you can mention particular people, files, meetings, or emails. So I'm going to just reference this meeting that I just showed you in the recap. And I'm going to ask Copilot to take this meeting that I had with Paul and write a project brief for it. And I want Copilot to give a description of what the project is about, what the customer's current IT environment's about, what the objectives are of the project, and give me a overview of what Copilot recommends to be the timeline for this project. So it's taken the transcript and then written this entire project brief for me. So I can then copy this and I can send this to somebody, or I can use this in work. But what I'm going to do is open this option, which is edit in Pages. Pages takes a Copilot response and turns it into a piece of content that you can collaborate on and co-author on with Copilot and with your colleagues. So I can then share this to people in my team. I can mention them and say, can you add some feedback on this? I can edit it. I can make changes in here. So it becomes a live piece of content that you can keep working with. So the next thing I'm going to do is get Copilot to add some more information into this. So I'm going to say, I'm going to ask Copilot to add some information. I'm going to pretend that my client is Microsoft. So I'm asking Copilot to do some research about Microsoft, the client business, and then include the information in this. That's just an example, but it's giving you, what I'm trying to show you here is that Copilot can also look at web information as well as your internal information and add that in. Cool. So then I can do edit in Pages, and it will add in the content, the new piece of information here that I've just got Copilot to research and put this into my document. And one thing to be aware of here as well is when you are prompting Copilot, you can get Copilot to look at specific sources. So if you tell Copilot, okay, I want you to just look at the Microsoft.com websites, or just look at the Australian government website, you can tell Copilot the type of sources you wanted to look at. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is jump into Outlook. So if we go into Outlook, there's a few different ways you can use Copilot. The first thing I want to show you is the Copilot summary feature. So jump to here. Show you, here's a chain. Cool. So you get an option at the top, and this works in desktop Outlook, so the kind of classic local Outlook that you may be using, as well as the new and the web Outlook as well. So if I click summary by Copilot, what it's going to do is look at your email chain and give you a summary of everything that was talked about. So I find this really good to use when you have kind of a long email chain and you want to quickly understand the priority and what the action is for you. I, for example, get a lot of emails where it's a escalation or I'm copied in for an FYI. And sometimes there's pieces of the email that you may miss. So this is really helpful for getting that overview quickly to understand what your email is about so you can get through your inbox quicker and prioritize what you need to work on. What we're also launching at the moment, which is live for us at Microsoft, and we're rolling it out more publicly soon, is that option called Prioritize My Inbox. And this is where you can actually teach Copilot how to prioritize your emails. So you can set up rules and say everything from my manager, make a priority, or everything related to this project, and you can tell Copilot how to prioritize your emails, but it will also read the email and understand from that whether it's a priority based on what's talked about in that chain, and then move that to the top of your inbox with a little arrow that helps you understand that that's a priority you need to use as well. So that's also super helpful. Okay, and then we also have this Copilot chat here. And this is where you can get Copilot you can talk to Copilot about your emails. So for example, I can reference content again. So I'm going to reference this meeting again in this case and say, can you summarize this meeting here? And then you can talk to Copilot in this context as well, and then take that to form your emails. So while that's doing that, I'm going to start a new email that I want to send my colleague to update them on this particular project that we're working on. Give it a second to run this. And here we have the draft of Copilot prompt box. So this is where you can type to Copilot what kind of email you want to write. This works on new emails, but also on replies. So you can say to Copilot, please reply to this email, and it will read the email and understand the context when it's forming the response. And there's also different prompts here. So you can tell Copilot to also take what you've written and make changes to it as well. And the other feature in here too is actually, let's just do it. I'm going to do email to organize a meeting. So for example, it's going to write this email here. I'm going to say, thanks, poem. The reason I'm showing this is it's going to show you, okay, cool. Next, going to show you the feature. So I've just made this a poem, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to show you a coaching feature. So this is where Copilot's going to read your email and give you feedback on how to improve it. So it's going to look at the tone, it's going to look at the reader sentiment. You'll see straight away it's telling me to be more professional, and be more clear in my email, which is very understanding since I have written it as the form of a poem. But it's really helpful for, I use this a lot to take my ideas of an email or something I've written and improve the language of it. So I might decide that I want it to be kind of written and take this and be written in this particular tone for based on what I'm talking about, or take this my kind of thoughts and get it out and then get Copilot to write it in a professional email. Not sure why it's taking so long. I want to try that again. But what we can do though, also in the chat, is actually book meetings. So this is really helpful. I'm going to say, can you book a meeting for tomorrow and you can reference again certain people. So it's really helpful for booking those internal meetings, and Copilot will look for a specific time. I don't know why it's being so slow at the moment. I'll go Peyton. Okay, don't know what's happening. She said that's so good. We'll jump into Copilot and PowerPoint now. So Copilot PowerPoint is really good at making presentations for you. So I'm going to open a blank presentation here. What I do recommend when you're getting Copilot to create presentations is to start with your company branded PowerPoint template. And there are starter templates you can use and customize with your own branding. When you create it from, that will apply all your branding. So if you create it from a blank one that I'm about to do, Copilot will pick any random design. So if you do it from a company branding, it's going to be a bit more aligned in what you're wanting. So what's really helpful with Copilot in creating new presentations is you can give Copilot a file you want to create a presentation from. So in this case, I'm going to select our marketing plan and then get Copilot to create the presentation from that. So you can choose a Word document, you can choose also PDFs you can use here as well, and Copilot will populate the slide content. It will add images and speaker notes and everything for your slide. for the whole presentation. So firstly, it's going to outline the presentation and what it's going to include, and then it's going to populate that slide deck. So again, this is all about how we're using Copilot to help with saving us time on those more time consuming and more mundane tasks, so we can do things that are more high value and that require more unique human skills. So if you've already spent a lot of time on content such as the marketing plan and you now have to present it, you're not having to start from scratch and creating those slides manually, which is time that you want to spend on other things. So Copilot's able to do that. So you'll see here, it's created the whole presentation for me. It's also written speaker notes. So it gives you the speaker notes, but it also gives you the full original content as well if you ever need that extra detail while you're talking too. It will pick images. The images it will pick will be similar to like what's on the slide content. If you have images in your Word document or they're in the PDF, those will be carried across to the presentation. So if you've got exact things that you want included, if they're in that original content, they'll be carried across. Otherwise, Copilot will pick images that are similar to what the content is on the, so pick something, yeah, that's relevant to what the slide is talking about. So I'm going to take so I've just created this marketing plan here. And now I want to create an FAQ. So I want to be able to present this to our management team, for example. I now want to get Copilot to create a presentation to, a Word document, which is an FAQ about the presentation I'm going to make. So I can provide this to people as a follow-up. So I'm going to open a Word document here. And in Word, we can get Copilot to generate new content. We can get it to summarize existing Word documents. You can also do comparisons or get Copilot to write reports based on different documents as well. So in the draft of Copilot prompt box, this is where we can tell Copilot the type of content we want it to write. And what's really powerful about particularly Copilot in Word, but also just the Copilot chat as well, is that when you have Copilot, you're never having to start from scratch on content ever again. And that's one of the biggest time blocks for people is when you're starting from something from scratch or you're doing something for the first time. It can take a long time to get into that and to actually get going with that content. So Copilot, you never have that kind of writer's block. It gives you something to immediately start you off so straight into the flow. And whether it gets you, it's never going to be, there's always going to be a bit of customization that you're going to need to do where you apply your unique experience and your knowledge to that. But when it's getting you 80% of the way there, you're saving hours and hours of time compared to writing something from scratch. So I'm going to create a FAQ for this presentation. And then again, type that / and I'm going to pick this marketing update presentation, and Copilot's going to take that content and write questions for that. So you can use this for creating, I've seen people use it for project documents, statements of work, for blogs, for user guides, anything like that. Cool. And then again, that was quite a simple prompt, but of course, the more information you include in your response, the better the outcome is going to be. So you can add more detail into your prompt here and rerun it. You can get Copilot to regenerate the content. You can use additional prompts to keep improving it so it meets your expectations better as well. All right. Okay, I'm now going to jump back into Copilot for Word here. I'm going to say, can you write a thank you email for the client? Cool. So this is now written in an email. It's going to show you that option here. So again, when you're using the Copilot chat, you can get it to create different types of content as well. So it doesn't just have to be kind of information. You can also get it in the form of a social media post, of an email, for example. You can generate images too. Something I love doing is actually using Copilot for image generation or image analysis. So you can paste an image of a slide, for example, and it will find the source file that was from, or you can get Copilot to tell you about different images that you're using there. Okay, I think I'm on time. So I'm going to pass back now to Juliana, and I'm just going to check if there's any questions in the chat as well. Awesome. I think I'll head over to Ksenia to talk about agents, and we'll do a bit of a demo of those shortly as well. Cool.
Thanks so much, Lauren. And hi, everyone. Let me just jump over to the agents part of the presentation. So you heard Lauren talk a bit about Copilot for Microsoft 365, what it can do, and show you some demos. I wanted to touch on to Copilot agents, and that just is a way for you to get more out of Copilot, get some line of business solutions and some functionality that is specific to your business. So first, I just wanted to touch on what is an agent, right? So an agent is essentially an intelligent AI assistant. It would use generative AI. It'll use natural language processing. You'll be able to talk to it the same way you can talk to Copilot. And it's there to assist with more complex or specific tasks for you. So you can use it embedded to your applications. You can use it to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can integrate it with maybe some of your Power Platform apps and Dynamics. So you could really use it to customize the functionalities with Copilot and AI within the Microsoft ecosystem. And here's some of the examples of how you can create those conversational solutions for almost any function within the business. You've got customer service, and it'll help you resolve more customer issues per hour potentially. Got sales, where it can drive lead generation, help you identify upselling opportunities, and really any functionality of that role that you can think of, you can create an agent for to assist people in those roles. There's finance, marketing, HR, and plenty others. And I'll show you some examples at the end of some specific solutions that you can think of. And with agents, there's a full spectrum of them from simple to more advanced, right? It could be as simple as using it to retrieve your information, right? Being able to add data from non-Microsoft applications or data sources, understand them, interrogate the data, ask the questions similar to how Lauren was showing in her demos. You can then create specific tasks, automate, some workflows within your business, and kind of replace needing to do those repetitive and cumbersome admin tasks that you do on a regular basis. And then you can take it all the way to be autonomous, right? You can set it to operate fully independently on a schedule or with specific trigger criteria. You can, orchestrate multiple different agents together to really create those very bespoke, advanced business solutions. So anywhere from very simple to spending some time and building a comprehensive business solution. And here's some examples, it can be something like an IT help desk agent internally or for your customers. It could be, budget management or finance bot, lead generation agent, and so on. And again, how complex it needs to be is completely up to you. But I think even just the ability to extend Microsoft 365 Copilot to work with external data or provide the ability, for your chat users to have an agent that they can still leverage without having the Microsoft 365 Copilot license, opens a huge amount of opportunities, and you can create a customer-facing solution as well using agents. So you can create different chat experiences using Copilot Studio, and they'll be, intelligent, secure, so still leverage all of the security that Lauren mentioned earlier in her presentation. They're customizable, and there are a lot of pre-built agents that Microsoft is going to be releasing throughout 2025 that address some of those, and you can also create your own custom ones as well. There's a short video in here. It's only about 40 seconds, and it's an example of how two employees can use a custom agent to interact with it. So hopefully it isn't too small for you to see, but just showing you a little bit of an example of how that might work. While it's going, I'll just look at the chat for some questions. So someone's asked, can agent AI work with Salesforce, or is it only specific to Microsoft Suite? So you can absolutely connect it to your external CRM or service solutions like Salesforce, HubSpot, etc. Salesforce in particular, you can purchase Copilot for Sales that out of the box connects to Salesforce, Sales Cloud. But others you can still integrate within Copilot and Copilot agents. Right, and this is just a bit of a breakdown on how those 3 levels of complexity, help you improve your business. With retrieval, you're empowering your employees to leverage your data much more effectively. Once you start using that task automation, you're modernizing your processes, you're creating operational efficiency, and with autonomous functionality, you get to innovate and really create those complex solutions that take all that work off of someone else and allow everyone to focus on their core functionalities. This is just an example of all of the different tools you can use to build agents or to extend Copilot, right? So if you have Microsoft 365 Copilot, you could use Agent Builder to add additional knowledge sources to it, and give it a little bit of a description of how it should function, and then users within your business that have a Copilot license can use it specifically to ask questions from those predefined sources. Like you can add SharePoint sites to it, you can add external websites to it, you can add documents to it. And then with Copilot Studio, you're kind of taking you to that next level where you now can add actions and have more control over the conversation logic and implement additional data sources. And then if you really want to create a complex solution on the more advanced side, you can leverage Azure AI Foundry, where you can really use any other model, the GPT-4o that Copilot already uses, or any other large language model, and put them together and really create a bespoke solution for your business. And, just wanted to touch on as well some building blocks that you would look at to customize your agents. Really, it's knowledge. Where is it getting the information? What data is it allowed to access? Actions, so what kind of tasks can it do? What processes can it complete? Logic, so how is your conversation going to work? How is it going to understand certain requests? What kind of responses you want it to give, in what format? And then channels is where do you want that agent to be available? So, you've got Teams, you've got your website. You can deploy it to quite a few different channels depending on your business needs. So here's an example of all the different knowledge sources that you can use. So it could be the public data, it could be enterprise data using connectors, and your agent will actually be able to generate answers using all of that data and understanding all of that data. And it could be very useful, especially like, for instance, if you have an agent that you wanted to post on your website, that's a place where customers can ask questions. You can say, only use these FAQ documents, only use our troubleshooting documentation, and this is the logic, and this is how we would like you to answer. And then your customers will be able to ask questions and get very specific, accurate answers to their questions using that knowledge base. And then actions, again, it just allows you to really interact with your environment, right? Either within Microsoft 365, or if you are using non-Microsoft solutions, you can dictate different actions that it can take. So if you wanted to say upload an invoice, and that's a function that's available within the environment, then you'd be able to get Copilot to actually perform that action on your behalf. And logic, again, that's just really giving you more granular control over the topics, over how that conversation flow is going. You can tell it what topics aren't allowed, for instance, right? So if someone asks you Copilot a question or agent a question, and you don't want that to be talked about, then you can pre-write a response when that topic is mentioned, kind of redirecting the user to a different point of contact to discuss something like this. Or, if there's some maybe niche terminology that you use within your business or acronyms, you can, again, specify it within the conversation logic so it knows how to handle these kind of requests. While, the natural language processing works really, really well, it's still very broad, very general, and this will allow you to narrow down exactly how you want those conversations to be handled. And these are some of the out-of-the-box agents that Microsoft is bringing to market. Agents in SharePoint are already available. There's a few that are in public preview, and some are in private preview, but they are coming to market, and they'll be almost out of the box available for you to use in your business. And this is just a summary of all of the different examples of agents across industries and departments that you can look at. You've got your travel and transport, government, retail examples in here. So it's really a myriad of different solutions that you can build throughout agents to take your Copilot experience to the next level. Let me just take a look to see if there's any other questions. Someone also asked earlier, what are some of the key features of Copilot agents that differentiate it from other AI solutions out there? And really, the deep integration within the Microsoft ecosystem, something that you use every day, and then looking at Lauren's examples, how quickly you can utilize it within the ecosystem. Having that advanced contextual awareness, being able to create logic for it, the task automation, and being able to fine-tune the way that it understands how you talk to it are really going to be the qualities that make it stand out. And it still benefits from the comprehensive Microsoft 365 security that you have across the rest of your applications, and it fully respects all of your user access, all of your data policies, and so on. And I think Lauren has popped in, ready to do a quick demo for you of an agent.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen again. So cool. To give you some examples of agents, there's two that I want to show you. So the first one is a licensing agent. So in this particular case, one of the ways, and as Christina was talking about, you can connect your agents into third-party systems. I'll show you that shortly. But also you can have agents that are focused on specific content within your organization. So this is really helpful for creating focused information, so that focused agents, so that people can find information really easily for particular projects or particular purposes, clients, and things like that. So in this case, I'm going to actually mention an agent here. So I've got a Microsoft licensing coach. This is an agent that is designed with knowledge sources that are specifically documentation around Microsoft licensing that I've controlled. And I'm going to ask the agent here, can you recommend the best license for this client base? So now I'm chatting with this agent. Oh, I'm not sure why it's doing that here. Cool. Which is focused on specific particular data. I'm going to try that again. It might just be because I've done it here. So it also pops at the side here. Here we go. Jump into that. Okay, well, I'm just going to ask a question here. We'll say, what licenses are included in Plan 1? So you can also mention this in your content too. Here we go. So it's going to look specifically at the sources that it's looking at. So this is just looking at the documents that I've controlled on. And some of the things that people use agents for example, are when they have frontline workers, or they have people who are on mobile devices, or they're kind of out and about and they need to access information easily. I've got clients where they used to have to call the head office, and the head office would have to go through SharePoint and find information they needed, where they've now built agents and made them available on their mobiles and Teams that they can just ask really easily without needing access like a laptop or things like that, because they can just have that conversation with natural language to the agents. Another example of an agent here I'm going to show you is one connected to a third party. So this is one connected to Confluence, if you're familiar with Confluence. So in this particular demo environment, I have a product called Taskmaster Master Pro, and that's where all of our product documentation lives separately in Confluence. So I've now created this agent that connects into that. So here at Microsoft, for example, I can ask specific questions. It's not limited to the ones that are on here. This just gives you some examples to kick it off. You can ask anything, and it's going to look particularly at the content. Oh, I'm not sure why I'm having issues with my agents. Love doing live demos for this reason. We'll try that again. So I'll kick that off. Cool. So some of the examples of how we use this in Microsoft, for example, is that we have agents that connect into our CRM. So then before all of our meetings as sellers, we can go in and ask about customers, and we can ask what they're licensing, so we're fully prepared for our meetings. We have agents that are built around particular kind of products. We have agents that are designed to help us with asking questions about products. We have agents so we can go to ask questions around the service health of our products, things like that. So heaps of different ones. But you'll see here, because this is an agent that's focused on just connecting into that third-party data that lives in this other environment, it's just pulling it from my Confluence pages here. So when it comes to Copilot, you aren't like just limited to what's in your Microsoft environment. You can connect it to third-party systems you're also using. And there's a question here where it said, how do you foresee the integration of AI tools like Microsoft Copilot transforming the future landscape of professional environments? I wanted to cover that off quickly. So our big focus is, at the moment, it's on agents. This is where we are seeing this technology go. So for the past kind of year, since when Copilot was first launched, there's a lot of focus on the individual productivity features, and that is huge amounts of value in terms of how we're enabling people to work more productively and save time. But what agents are doing is they're helping customers transform entire processes and get value for the customer across their entire business. So that's by making these kind of role-specific agents. But what we also have, and it's in preview at the moment, it's coming very soon, is agents, and those, what Cassandra was talking about, is agents with actions and auto-anonymous agents too. And that's where you can automate those entire processes without there needing to be human intervention or involvement. So it's becoming really powerful for things like improving customer experience and making processes for whole teams or for the whole company far more efficient and quicker as well. So that's really where this technology is going, is leveraging our mission is to have a agent for every process within a business, and you can get to a point where you have multi agents going on. So for example, if you have a new user onboarding kind of to your organization, you could have 5 different agents involved that do all the different tasks for the onboarding for you to get that full process completed. Okay, I'll hand it back over to Shane now.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Cassandra. We've got our Q&A section of the webinar now, so feel free to ask some questions in the chat, and we will answer them. If there are too many, then we'll come back to you after the webinar just to answer any questions you have.
I can give an overview of the cost if you like me to. So in terms of Copilot Chat, that's free, including with licenses. With the M365 Copilot, so that is $30 US per user per month, but it's on an annual term. So you have 2 options. You can pay for monthly billing or annual billing. That's the price where you're doing the kind of annual billing, but it's per month. It's 5% more. I actually know the New Zealand pricing off by heart. It's $48.50. I don't know the Australia RRP off by heart, but that gives you an idea of how much that is. From a agent's perspective, it depends on the type of agent. So if the agent's just looking at web content, it's free, doesn't cost anyone anything. If it is looking at SharePoint data, so for example, the licensing agent I showed you that was looking at SharePoint data, or it's looking at third-party data with a connector, then that costs messages. And there's 2 ways you can pay for agents. Pay as you go, which is, and this is USD pricing, just to keep it consistent, it's 1 cent per message. Or you can buy a message pack, which is kind of like these capacity packs of 25,000 messages. There's 2 ways. packs of messages or pay as you go. And each response, if you're connecting it into SharePoint or into a third-party third-party system with a connector, is 32 messages. So that would be like 32 cents basically for a response if you pay as you go, or you can buy in those packs of 25,000.
Excellent. Thanks, Lauren. So the price in Australia is $44.90.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
And so Ross has asked a question about data. So from that point of view, I'll quickly answer that our aim is to always start with securing data rather than coming back around and securing it later on. So we want to make sure your tenant is secure, and then we want to overlay Copilot on top to help you become more productive.
The next door, yeah, best answered by you as well.
Yes, that's for me as well. So an MSP is good because what we do is work specifically with a broad range of clients. So we come across a large number of implementations and different types of issues. So we can then help apply that across our clients essentially and help you, one, ensure that your environment is secure, and two, we can help your path to using Copilot effectively happens quickly and allows you to sort of get that best bang for your buck out of what you're paying.
And the other one was, I think, do you have partners who can help create agents?
Oh, yes, is the answer. Yeah, so from that point of view, again, an MSP is a great way to go about that. So a company like Intelliworx can definitely help you design, implement, maintain, and agents and connectors into different data sets and things like that.
Just to add to that, I think when it comes to agents as well, working with an MSP is really important to make sure the whole governance side of agents is managed as well. So just keep that in mind. Yes, like agents be created, but they can also, Intelliworx can also help you with things like the security side of agents and making sure that it adheres to all of your other security in your environment as well. And it doesn't just kind of have, you don't have everyone just doing whatever they want kind of thing.
I'm going to let maybe somebody else answer that question, if that's okay.
Yes. So the AI tools one, I answered that a little bit just before when I was talking about agents. So again, it's about what we're looking at doing with agents is transforming processes. So that's where it's going. So it's about we're creating these role specific or industry specific agents that are making that are doing autonomous processes where humans don't need to be involved. We're able to find data a lot quicker. And there's benefits when it comes to generative AI that sit outside of productivity too. So we're not just talking about like, yes, productivity is massive, automating processes is massive, but we're also seeing the way that people are supporting employees in different ways. You know, it's having a massive impact in a really positive way on neurodiverse employees, for example, things like that. So I think there's a lot of other ways that the organizations are able to benefit from generative AI that sit outside of productivity as well. And yeah, there's a lot more I can go into on that topic, but yeah, there's heaps of different ways.
So Whitney, Microsoft has a lot of good resources for basic training. Anything from there would really require sort of working with your IT partner to develop those sort of training resources in more detail. We can share some of those details later on.
Thanks, Shannon. I just dropped 2 links in chat. They're just very entry level. How does Copilot work? How does prompting works? Resources that you can leverage. But like Shane mentioned, it's best to work with your partner to create a training program that will help your employees utilize the most out of Copilot that they can for their roles as well. I think we missed a question in the Q&A. Someone's asked, how do people access the free Copilot chat? So with the free Copilot chat, you can actually go to copilot.microsoft.com, or you can use the pinned version of the Copilot chat with Teams or Outlook and sign in with your work account. So as long as you're signed in with your work account, you'll see like a little green shield with a tick box in the top right corner. It means that you are still covered by that data protection and that all of your data stays private. It just won't be able to access any of your work documents or anything like that.
Excellent. I might just wait another 10 seconds to see if there's any other questions. I don't think there's any more. If there are more questions, then feel free to send them through to us. We'll answer them after the webinar. Thanks for everybody attending. This is the end of our webinar. I'd like to thank Lauren and Ksenia for the great overview on both Copilot and the Copilot agents. I think the agents are pretty cool. And I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of their day just to sit and have a listen to how Copilot can be helpful. Just before you leave, we have two things. The first is that we have two different quite cool programs to offer. So the first one is called Getting Started. And this program is perfect for people who want to learn about Copilot and how to implement it in their business. So we can guide you through those first steps and help you build that comprehensive roadmap. And the other is Empower More, Save More. This program is designed for people who are already on the AI journey and are looking to sort of build that out throughout their business. So that's definitely two different things we can talk to you about. And the second thing is there's just a feedback QR code up on the screen and a link. So it'd be great if you could just fill that out so that we could just get your feedback, because we use this just to sort of guide our future sessions. So yeah, that would be great. Again, I'd just like to say thanks for everybody who joined us today, and really looking forward to seeing you at either our next webinar or chatting to you in person.